Okay, so welcome everyone. Welcome, morning, good evening, good afternoon. I know that today is the last day and we're being watched by so many people around the globe. So, welcome everyone. It is for me a distinguished honor to join this session today and to welcome you all and moderate this session titled Youth Action for Disease Prevention and Mental Health Promotion. I hope you're very excited for today's panel because youth action, especially for disease prevention and mental health, is such a relevant topic nowadays. And I think that mental health, we hear from about mental health all over the place, but I think there's not enough space to discuss how relevant it is. So, just to go a bit further about the topic, youth action for disease prevention and mental health promotion is a vital initiative, also supported by the World Health Organization to enhance the health and well-being of adolescents and young adults. So recognizing that adolescence is a formative period marked by rapid physical, emotional, social changes that we experience as youth, but also that gets a bit hectic and complicated with our current context around the globe. So, as the youth we are, and we need to emphasize the importance of empowering our own community to take active roles in promoting health within our lines and also within our communities wherever we are based. So, with this session, we will explore how young leaders are shared strategists and actionable and can create actionable pathways to lead in advancing disease prevention in mental health promotion. So, we can always foster healthier and more resilient communities. So it is imminent to need to integrate youth health and mental well-being into global development priorities. So let's make the most out of this session, and hopefully we get to build together strategic ideas and actions to ensure a better and more integral health for all, not only for youth, but for all, I think. And to discuss today's topic, I have with me two amazing youth activists and health leaders in this field. So I have Lucy Sander, a New Jersey student. She recognized herself as a book lover, anime fanatic, and musician, social justice, and LGBTQ youth advocate that had led this discussion in neuro- neurodiversity. I'm sorry, tricky word, from an early age. So I hope we can all welcome her and be very attentive of what she has to share. And I also have MD Tanjim Sheikh. He's a Peace Nest associate that has strongly advocated for youth health from a diversity of angles and topics. So I'm really excited to share the floor with you today. And without further ado, I would like to give you each of our panelists the floor for 9 minutes each around. So please be very attentive of the time to share with us how you have carved your way into today's topic and how you keep advocating for disease prevention and mental health. So, Lucy, you may have the floor. I'm more than eager to hear what you have to say today.
Thank you. So, as you know, I'm Lucy Sandor. I'm 15 years old and I live in Caldwell, New Jersey. For the past 2 years, I've been a youth ambassador on the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights, and I've worked on projects to support disabled young people to help improve their education and mental health outcomes. I'm also the founder of Volunteen, which is a nonprofit organization that connects young people to community service. We find organizations that need volunteer support who are willing to take on and train young people, and it is important to us that these organizations respect the potential young people can bring as leaders. We believe that bringing youth together in real life to work in their communities is our best chance at staying strong and united. This is what can keep us healthy both mentally and physically and can keep our leadership contributions flowing. I also hosted a podcast called Neurodiversity Superpowers where I focused on different neurodiversities and what they can kind of bring to our community. I myself have ADHD, and I love telling the stories of how I grew to raise awareness for others as well.
Thank you, Lucy. It's so inspiring to hear you, and I really hope that we get to hear a bit more of your insights in this topic with the guiding questions and the Q&A session. So to keep going forward, I would like to give as well Tanjim the floor, and I would love to hear out your main statement today.
Um, Hello everyone. I'm Tanjim from Bangladesh. Um, I'm a writer and currently serving as the CEO, and I'm also the founder of Peace Nest, which is an organization which is working on mental health across 5 countries right now: Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Mauritius, and Ireland. So when I first started Peace Nest, it was all about how I have seen mental health throughout my childhood. For me, I grew up in very rural place from Bangladesh where counseling is not a thing. So in class 8, when I actually was going through acute anxiety, I didn't know where to go and who to ask about what do I do now. I don't have anyone to counsel me, or I don't have anyone to help me with that. So I wanted to build a support system for those communities where counseling is not there, so that I could go to them, ask them questions that what are the supports that you need right now, then build up an organization, and then approach different neurologists, different psychologists to collaborate with me. They might not be able to go to those rural places because it's really not accessible for them to go from a big city to those places. But if I have that questionnaire from the students that I'm going through this, and they could answer those at least weekly, and I could type them and help them with that through a magazine or through a video or through I am learning them from them and teaching them, at least I'm being able to support at least one or at least two. And from there, I started uh, growing Peace Nest. It was not Peace Nest at first. I didn't name anything at first. I just started like I want to do it, and then further when it came to, I came to know that there are other communities across the world where people are not getting support the same way, the way I didn't get. So I contacted with some of my friends from India. Then I connected with people from Ireland, Mauritius, from people from Pakistan, and they were also saying that in these rural places it's not really accessible. So then I actually thought that okay, let's get it to international level. Maybe we will not be available to give 24/7 support, but at least a compact support that they have the guidance. Okay, I'm feeling this, so I need to do this. I need to go there. And if I'm not being able to go there, at least I can avail the supports from internet. Support is there in internet, but most of them doesn't even know that support is there in internet. So that's where it began to build up Peace Nest. And then here we are working with more than 700 plus students from 5 countries right now.
Thank you so much, Tanjim. And it's very inspiring how you both really have seen the necessities in your communities and also build your impact within what you experienced and mm, moved your like from your experience based on empathy to make sure that other people can have what you needed and what you think is necessary. So, to start this conversation, I would really like to start saying, what can we do? What are the roles we as youth can play in preventing both communica- communicable and non-communicable or non-visible diseases or conditions in our communities? Because it's very easy to say like, oh, if I have fever, then just take a pill, or um, if I don't feel very well, if I have stomach ache or something like that, then I don't know, drink a tea or something. But when we speak about mental health, it's not as easy, and we may not even have a full scope of what the situation is. And when we need to empathize, then if we are not really sure how to deal with the situation, or what's the situation in the first place, then it's very hard to lead with empathy and to act. So what roles can we as youth play in preventing and also trying to respond in general? I would like to give you the floor first to Lucy, and afterwards to Denjim.
So, me personally, I think this connects a lot to my nonprofit Volunteen, where like I'm really bringing the attention to youth. And because I think that a lot of like, as the years progress, a lot of this is placed onto the youth. So, I think that a really important thing for like preventing um, like diseases in communities, and also preventing like the same mental health stigma from like staying, is taking action now, and kind of like learning from others, or even mentors, or even like working with adults to kind of take on those responsibilities when they are that age, and like fighting misinformation early, and like teaching kids kind of from a young age the very basic facts, to let them kind of build upon their own perspective from their experiences.
Thank you, Lucy. Denjim, I would love to hear your insight on this question.
If I talk about the solutions that I see we could do in this field is in threefold. First, as educators, youth roles as educators, as our respected panelist said, that she's building up and providing those supports, and she's connecting with everyone in a way she's teaching. So, first, educators, youth roles as educators, and then secondly, I think after educator being an educator or connecting those bridges, those gaps of information towards the community and acting towards that, then comes activity and advocacy. So after we have somebody who can teach them, who can engage with them, we need somebody to let others know that okay, you have these supports available, you just need to go there and ask. So advocacy, and finally showing them with real stories and real connection. For an example, many people backed by United States, some of the most eminent um, research, and also backed by UN's statistics, that many people don't even know what are communicable diseases, what are non-communicable diseases. For an example, a few years ago, I was meeting a person who was going through bipolar diseases. But some people thought that his house was wanted, and that's why he was going through that. Now, as a youth, as someone who I know that, okay, this is maybe some bipolar disease or something that is going through his mind, it's messing up with his mind. So we need to support him through taking him to some psychologist or psychiatrist, right? Now, many people doesn't know that. So as a youth, it's my responsibility to teach them or to tell them and act as a bridge between the information and the underserved communities who don't have that access to those information. And I think that's why I think these organizations matters, like volunteering, my organization peaceness, and also other many organizations are there which is doing absolutely amazing in this field. And I think they're proving that being an educator, being an advocate, and also showing them with results are necessary in this case.
Thank you, Denjim. It's like I would like to make a comment about your two amazing responses, and it is that we need to change through knowledge. Knowledge is the key to actually start deconstructing these ideas that oh, mental health, oh, that's just a youth thing. No, mental health is something that not only affects teens but also affects everyone. It doesn't matter your age, but I think that as youth we have really carved the way to make a statement that mental health is important no matter your age. But nowadays I have this feeling that it's a concept that it's very linked to youth because it's something new, it's something that in the old generations it never happened. So this is something that with knowledge and acting as educators, we can tackle misinformation, we can tackle stigma, and we can, as you, Tindy mentioned, with real stories, we can make real connection, and then later on make real change. So, leading with this topic about the stigma and um, awareness and so on, I would like to ask you both, how can youth led initiatives promote awareness, reduce stigma, and provide support for mental health? What are key actions that we should be doing or taking into account or putting into practice? Tanjim, I will give you the floor first in this one. If you wish,
Thank you.
you may go.
So, the most unique advantage that youth-led initiatives have right now to promote awareness about mental health towards different ages of people is that these youth initiatives are relatable. They have energy. We are energetic, and we are digitally savvy. Right now, no matter the age, you would find everyone on internet from 6 years old to 60 or 80 years old. Now, we are digitally savvy, which allows us to connect with peers, to connect with people, which traditional campaigns often cannot. And most of these youth initiatives promote mental health through peer to peer workshops, online campaigns, community dialogues, and whatnot. But right now, social media has such a great power. I saw an organization which was promoting mental health. They work with individuals from 5 years to 85 years or above, and what they do is actually post memes on social media and connect them towards that. Okay, if you're feeling this, you can actually connect it through memes. Okay, so there was a viral meme which I was seeing that um, a person who's going through something mentally and physically, and he's blaming on to his partners or someone else. And now that person who's affected by that bad behavior is saying that, oh, he's bad temper, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. Now they're telling them with some fun CDC that, okay, come to us to know what is this happening, why is this happening, and then they're showing a blog from a psychologist or some specialist to explain that what is this, why is this happening, and what is these issues which our adults are going through, which our children are going through. And from there, I actually discovered that right now in the world, 45% of adults are going through some or other kind of mental health issues, which is provoking them to suicidal thoughts, which is scary right now. I just discovered it like 3 to 4 days ago, and it was scary for me. 45% of adults. That's huge. So right now, I think communicating with them and through different viable options. For an example, in my community, many people doesn't know what Zoom call is in Bangladesh.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I cannot ask them to come on Zoom call and have a community dialogue about mental health, but I can go to the community center nearby me and ask them to talk about what mental health is. And if they have context, if they doesn't have context, I can go with some specialist and talk with that about that, right? But
Mm-hmm.
someone from NYC doesn't have the same issue. They have the access to those digital platforms. Now they can connect to this because in these big cities, people are busy. They don't have the time to go to a community service or go to a center to just talk about what they're going through. And those are huge. So I think um, communicating with the people in our community through viable options is now the most important thing, and connecting them with our energy, passion, and obviously the resources that are available.
Thank you, Tanjim. So much to mention about it. Like, as you said, I would like to highlight what you mentioned. Like, social media has great power to change, to share information, but also it's part of our duty to make sure that, okay, if we are promoting, if we're using our platform to discuss a certain topic, to make sure that we don't replicate misinformation, but that we have real facts behind ourselves, and that we are sharing and replicating the comments of people that actually have technical knowledge about it or that have facts behind it, so we can actually make a change and be a pathway or a bridge that brings information and necessary information and knowledge to people in regards with mental health or visible or non-visible diseases and so on. And I will also like to highlight as well what you mentioned, that we have to make this topic approachable to people and to our communities, detect what are the basic um, tools they can have, how they will feel more comfortable about talking about mental health, whether it's social media or whether it's easier for them just to take 10 minutes and share a space and feel free to listen and have their questions, their worries out. That's so powerful. Thank you so much for that that response. And I would also like to give as well Lucy now the floor to hear about how we can promote awareness, tackle stigma nowadays. Lucy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I think that for having youth-led initiatives, I agree it's very important to have social media, but I think a more important aspect of that is being together like in real life, especially with service projects and other things like if you're working on anything with even volunteering or learning about different topics, being together in real life kind of brings a connection, even not only with like an educator and like a student or people that are learning from one another, but like their peers and kind of like connecting within each other to bring a network together. For volunteering, I've set up a website, and a lot of my platform and how I advertise as well is very digitized, because I think especially with youth, the like in the current time, it's very like centralized online with like stuff like Google Calendar or Instagram or TikTok. A lot of that is how I've drawn people in, or even building a website to make finding volunteer opportunities more accessible. But even with that, I think that it's just so important to stay with the idea of like being together in real life and like connecting in person.
Thank you, Lucy. And I would really like to comment on that, because I think after the pandemic we got so used to having way more things digitally. Like today we are joining from all corners of the world in this live stream, but it's so important to have a face to face, to put a human face to the topic, to build connection. And after like having that contact, we can actually feel a more powerful bond and form community. And I think it's so valuable, because when we try to tackle these big issues, whether it's global warming or the environmental crisis, or in today's case, mental health, um, it's way easier to keep feeling hope, and that we can have an impact when we know that there's a community that's standing behind us and that are cheering for us, but that there's also other people that are concerned about the same issue that we are, and that it's not just one person that's trying to change the world, but rather a lot of people that are rooting for the same issue and rooting for change in it. So I would really like to emphasize, like, we need to put a face to mental health, that
Yeah.
if we want to change and we want to make mental health as a topic that it's way more human and not this abstract idea, we really need to go and feel and see in our communities how does this situation translates to my day-to-day basis, or um, how it translates to the needs of my community. And I think that you've mentioned a lot of very good strategies, social media and so on, but how can we like move this concept of disease prevention, mental health promotion from a platform whatever platform we choose, to integrating it into education or our workplace or our hobby areas where young people are engaging on our day-to-day basis. Like, how can we make this a topic that seems so abstract to something more tangible in all the spaces we integrate? I would like to give you Lucy, the chance to speak first and hear about your insights in this.
Thank you. For this question, I really think that one of the most important things is in education, especially like in the classroom, more teaching, even just a general overview of mental health, can help to like reduce stigmas and also integrate mental health as a topic into education and later the workplace systems. By starting with a general like introduction to it, it feels less like an alienated topic and something that's very different and out of the norm, especially for students that might have intellectual disabilities and things like that. They might need to be in a separate classroom at times, go to speech therapy, have extra time on a test. It makes these things feel less different, like they're separate or worse than their peers. It makes it feel more normalized and like it's just another thing that happens in the day rather than a special separate idea. And as well as this, I think that for in more focused in the workplace, as in a similar way, additional trainings focusing on mental health, or even refreshing that information and giving some definitions or some things about mental health may help to reduce myths or biases that people may have in their head, and also make them feel more connected and in a more familiar area with others in the workplace, and also maybe more specific policies at a workplace and implementation of said policies that may better accommodate people with intellectual disabilities.
Thank you, Lucy. And I think we are going back to this key word, knowledge. When we speak loud about something, when we actually address mental health or when we address a particular situation, it really smoothens the path to like deal with it or include it, or like we really deconstruct these biases or myths, and we start moving from seeing it like, oh, that's something far away from me, that's something that doesn't go through my body, that's something not related and will never be affected, to something that I can empathize with, even though I might not be part of the neurodivergent community, or maybe I don't um, include myself in that, but it's a way that I can learn from it and make be from my own two hands be able to open doors to other people and make them feel included, or even change the speech we are reproducing in our communities that promote communities that are torn apart or exclusion in some way. So thank you so much for your valuable response. And now I would really like to give that Jim also the chance to address this question, because it's a big question and a very we may have very diverse perspectives about it. So the Jim, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I actually have a hot take on that. Many people have. I also have talked about this before, and many people didn't agree with me. Which I say that I strongly believe mental health should be mandated in educational and workplace systems, not optional. So research shows that these curricula often contribute to students' anxiety and depression worldwide, which we can talk about day long. But what Lucy said before that, a student might be disabled in some way, which may differ him or her from their peers. Now, they are different, and everybody, a 5-year-old kid, you cannot expect a 5-year-old kid to support another 5-year-old kid to have that kind of support. They can be empathetic, but they don't know that, okay, if she is going through, my friend is going through this, what do I do now? Now, if a manager or somebody in the educational body is trained, if the teachers are trained with this, that okay, we need to accommodate these students with this kind of perspective and that kind of support, then we can actually make sure that every student is getting uh, the needed support. And if we talk about um, in the corporate systems, in the workplaces, it's really important. Like the research statistics shows that if the manager is informed about it, if the manager is someone who's empathetic and knows about these things, the workplace environment and their employees' productivity and their personal life balance increases huge, with a percentage of around 12 to 17%, which is huge, and, depending on the last decade's statistic. So I think that's why I do take this hot take that it should be mandated. It should be something that is necessary. It should be something that if you are a teacher going to teach, if you are a manager going to manage everything, if you are someone who is leading, you better know the what you're going, and you better have the ability to support everybody in your team with their needed support, whether that's professional, whether that's mental, whether that's anything that has to do with their own identity. And that's why I do believe that it should be mandated, it should be necessary, and it should come out as loud as possible with the proper knowledge that you already have mentioned.
Mhm. Thank you, Tanjima. I think we're here collecting keywords to write in our in the notes from this session. Knowledge, support, based on where what power we bestow, what position we're in. We always have to have knowledge, and if we don't have it, try to learn from it, trying to um prepare ourselves better, try to understand the situation better, try to reach out to people that actually know a bit more. And then based on that, I can act and support others. I can act and lead. So that's a very second keyword from this session, I guess, support, finding support. And I would like to start moving forward and address some of the questions that we are having or receiving in our comment section. I will read a few and then we'll give you the chance to answer them. I have first, what activities can promote positive mental health among young people? That would be the first question. And the second question I'll read is, in what ways can youth leadership reshape approach to disease prevention and mental health? Lucy, if you wish, you may answer first.
I think that one of the biggest things to gain youth involvement is like having youth leaders and having youth representatives, especially at levels like the UN or even governmental or even local levels, like such as like in even down to like a school board, having a representative of the youth, even if it's not someone with like a neurodiversity, even if it's just someone like representing the school or the students, it's very important to have youth voices at that level because it can really give that firsthand experience that people might need to hear to make decisions.
Mhm.
And I also think that having that will also have the involvement of the new generation, which will help to kind of reshape these approaches by bringing in people who have these firsthand experiences. So I think the most important thing for kind of reshaping this is having that perspective and having it so that people can take that into consideration when making decisions or even looking at updated plans or accommodations or things like that.
Thank you, Lucy. Tanjim, would you like to add anything else?
I totally agree what Lucy said, that representation at the United Nations and everywhere. And other than that, what I would like to talk about is engagement. For an example, we are representing our youth. For an example, if I'm chosen from the community to represent what we are going through, but also after I have represented, there should be some steps which through which we could actually engage each and every one from our community who are going through the same issues, so that we diversify the facts.
Mhm.
That's all.
Thank you, Tanjim. I would like to also ask this one because it, it's really precise what this person is asking, and it is, what one personal action can each of us take to improve both our physical and mental health? I think this is a very exact question of what can we really do now? Like this session ends, it's soon to be over, but what can we do after? What is something that we can actually do in our daily basis? Then Jim, I'll give you the floors first to you. Mm.
Um, Actually, I misheard the last part. Could you please repeat?
Oh, yeah, sure. It is. The question is, what one personal action can each of us take to improve both our physical and mental health?
Okay. Uh, should I go first?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, what one personal action that we can take at the first place is to ensure that we personally are healthy physically and mentally, to set that goal or to set that standard or to set that kind of role model to our community, that if I am going through therapy and I am having a balanced life with my work, with my personal relationships, with everything that I'm doing, that will set a kind of role model for our friends, that okay, if he's doing therapy and he's being benefited by that, so maybe we could do the same if we are going through some problems, and maybe just try it out. If someone is going through heart issues now, I did exercise and everything to get fit, lose some pounds, to actually have my internal organs fit, not about body types or anything, just to have my internal organs fit, or to have my body healthy. Now, if my friends get inspired by that, that's amazing. And I think setting that role model, being that role model, before telling someone that you do this, me personally doing that and showing them that, see, if I'm doing this, I'm getting benefited. So maybe you just could give it a try or see that if your problem is solved or not. And I think that is the most important thing we could do right now, that I personally believe.
Thank you, Jim. And it's true, we can really have an impact in one person or in our community by setting a role, by taking it first into our daily lives and later on trying to influence others in a positive way to actually have them include, I don't know, better practices in their daily life. I would also like to hear, Lucy, what is your insight in this question?
I would say one thing. I think that, like, even if you're not actively struggling with something, for one personal action we can take to improve ourselves is to learn and like educate yourself about these different like mental health disabilities or even stigmas that are around it, to try to like find your own perspective and kind of get a better understanding of it, because then not only can we improve ourselves, but we can help others and be that support for others, and then when the time comes, kind of they can be that support to us, and we can better understand like ourselves and a lot of like how we may be challenged, and even ways that like we can raise awareness, even for things that we have ourselves or others. So I think the biggest part of it may seem like a impossible topic just to find one small thing, or it may seem like there's not a lot that we can do because it's like a very big grand topic, but I think that one small thing that may not seem like it helps that much but can really help a lot is educating yourself and learning and just like becoming aware and like being involved and kind of understanding what's going on so that we can even pass that on to others.
Thank you, Lucy. And I would really like to read one of the comments. It's not a question, but it's rather a very powerful comment. And it's like, empower youth will ensure that future generations grow up stronger, both physically and mentally, contributing to a thriving and sustainable world. So it's true. If we really empower not only our communities, but rather start with ourselves and become this huge role model for maybe for one person, for two, for your friends, and you just like having that chain effect that one leads to another action and then that other action leads to another impact and so on. We can really start empowering youth, and like we are going to be youth today, we are youth today, we are we're going to be adults in the future and so on. But if we really take action today, then it will be easier, maybe, hopefully, for for future generations to deal in general, to have open conversations about mental health, for example, that today not all people around the world have the right and the chance to actually speak freely about how they feel, how they're struggling with a particular mental situation, whether it's ADHD, whether they are diagnosed or undiagnosed. If we keep moving forward and if we keep having basic knowledge and open conversations, and we're making room to have those open conversations where adults, youth, children are included, then I think we really might have, as this comment, a more thriving and sustainable world. And I know we're almost 2 minutes away from closing this session. So I would really, really like to give Lucy and Tanjim one last chance. What is something that you would really like to share with our audience today and have them take that last takeaway from today's session? Lucy, you may start.
I think one big takeaway is education is really important in mental health, in ensuring truth. Education is really important, and so is community. Being involved in your community, even if it's not community service, even if it's just getting together or raising awareness on social media, using your standing and where you are to kind of like bring a community together and raise awareness is so important. So I think that my three big takeaways would be like use your platform to educate yourself and others, build community, and also just educate yourself and raise awareness.
Thank you, Lucy. I'll give the floor now you to finish, Tanjim.
Okay, so I couldn't agree more with Lucy. Like, this is so important. I couldn't just agree more with this, that educate yourself. That is so important right now, to have that knowledge that, how important it is to prioritize mental health. What is mental health, and how do I really treat myself? How do I really treat my daily life? How my lifestyle should be, to educate ourselves with that. And with that said, I think also emphasizing on empathy. I could be a PhD with neuroscience, but also not be empathetic, then my knowledge is nothing to the community, because I'm not helping with the empathy that the person needs. They're struggling, they need the empathy. So I think I would just want to tell everyone that educate yourself, and at the same time be a little bit empathetic. That's all it takes to take care of yourself, to take care of your family, to take care of your mom, to take care of your friends. And it works like a chain reaction in our community and in our society. So that's all. So be empathetic to everyone listening. Just be empathetic. I couldn't
Thank,
just emphasize enough on this.
thank you, Tanjim, and thank you, Lucy. I really want to say thank you for sharing this space with us, for sharing your knowledge and your experiences with today's audience. And thank you as well to everyone that joined us today. As we conclude this session, we can really see that it's clear that youth are not only vital stakeholders, but also powerful catalysts for change in the realms of disease prevention and mental health promotion. Our lived experiences as youth, innovative approaches, and commitment to community can really offer invaluable contributions to global health efforts. So let's this session serve as a call to action to recognize, support, and invest in youth as architects of a more equitable and sustainable health landscape. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I wish you a nice Saturday. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the last couple of sessions of this event.